I've helped over 100 advertisers scale to 100K per month or more using strategies that most advertising agencies keep to themselves. After we've spent over $20 million in profitable advertising campaigns across every industry, from cash-based clinics to e-commerce businesses, I've cracked the code on what it actually takes between the 7 and the 8 and 9-figure businesses. You see, most advertisers, they're stuck because they're using what worked in 2019, but there's a new way to scale in 2025. And once you understand these 3 core principles, you will never struggle with ad performance. Now, because I'm on a mission to help advertisers break through previous revenue plateaus using propaganda content strategies, over the next few minutes, I'm gonna show you the exact system that's taken multiple clients to 8-figure run rates. That's $10 million per year in revenue. In order to hit that next level, especially going from 7 to 8 figures, is number one, they need propaganda content that actually converts. Most advertisers, they're stuck running generic ads. It's boring, it's outdated, it doesn't resonate at all. Like, I'll give you an example of a client that we just took over. They said, like, are you looking to optimize your health? It's just like so meh. You know, it wasn't anything that packed a punch. And then what we did is we changed the content and it said, are you a man that's afraid to take your shirt off at the pool party? It immediately hit them with like where they're at. They go to pool parties, they don't want to take their shirt off. Like, nobody cares about, oh, are you like wanting to optimize your health and get in better shape? It just like doesn't hit. So most of them are just running very generic, muted content that seems like it's ran by AI. The key is not just creating scroll stopping content, but you also want content that indoctrinates. So what you need to do for this is address real issues, right? Again, are you looking to optimize your health and get in better shape? Are you looking to lose weight and finally lose the pounds? Very generic versus like, are you tired of being the guy at the pool party who's afraid to take their shirt off? Are you tired of your wife checking out other men that are in better shape than you and look 10 years younger? That's real issues, real concerns, real pains, real emotions that they are experiencing. And by addressing real issues, guess what happens? You build trust. Why? Because this person knows me. You want to handle real objections. Like, ask your sales team, ask your clients, what are the real objections that they have? Address those. Like, if you're an agency owner, everybody's been burned by agencies. So have you been burned by 5 to 6 agencies? That's a real objection. You put that in your ad, in strategic content, that's a real issue to them. If you're an info product, like, have you invested in previous courses and didn't see the return on investment that you needed? So many people know these info courses, these business ops, they're scams. So how are you addressing the real issues in the market? By doing that, you build trust. You need to do that with real objections, and you need to do it in a way that builds your offer as the only logical solution. So number one, propaganda content that actually converts. Number two is what I call the trust flywheel. Scaling is not just about the ads. Anybody can get opt-ins, anybody can get leads, anybody can get schedules, but how do you get somebody who's never heard from you before to trust you enough to give you tens of thousands of dollars over the internet, or thousands of dollars maybe over the course of months of an offer that you might be running? If it's like telehealth, right? They're going to commit to 3 to 6 months, maybe 10, 12 months of a prescription with me. How do I get them to trust me? It's about building where every touch point builds trust. Now, how do you do this? The best way is going to be leveraging testimonials, case studies, and objection handling content. When your trust compounds, what happens is you notice increased show rates, an increase lead conversion rates, and an increase in, it's an arrow upwards, AOV and LTV. Why? Because they trust you. Do you think it's easier to ask somebody who you've never met from the internet for $100 or $10,000, $100? Like, there's a lot less risk. I've never met this person. I can't meet this person in my life. Like, it's physically impossible. And I'm going to ask them for $100. Well, that's easy. Now, $10,000, I'm going to have a lot of trust. How do I do that? So the trust flywheel, this is exactly how you're going to do it. So what does that look like for you? Well, real objections. What's the time investment? What's the actual risk that's associated with? What's the grand narrative of the market, right? If I have an info products, course sellers are scammers. That's the grand narrative of the market. How do I address that? Is there real scarcity, right? I run a performance model. I can only be involved in so many businesses. That's real scarcity. Hey, look, John, if you don't get this deal done today, I've got another person who's ready to go. So take it or leave it, right? I can only help so many businesses. That's it. That's a real scarcity. If you have a concierge service of any capacity, if you have one-on-one coaching that you do, that's real scarcity. If you have like the top performance doctor, like that's real scarcity. There's only so much of you. If you're a cosmetic surgeon of some type, whatever your offer is, like there is real scarcity that's involved with it. There's also safety in numbers. This is another thing. Of all of our clients, we have less than a 1% dispute or refund rate. Or of all of our people that buy into our program, we only have this much percent of people not hit the result, and it's for this reason. Those are real numbers. Even if it's like 10%, it's like, hey, 10% of our clients, they actually don't hit 10K per month or 100K per month or $1 million per month. And here's the reason why. They didn't have these things in place. They didn't do these things. They didn't put the time in. They didn't commit to the full program. There's safety in numbers. They're like, okay, well, if I do these things, like I'm going to get the outcome. What's the real downside? Like that's going to be a financial risk. Like there's a real downside. I could lose this money. I might not achieve results. But if I handle the real objection, if I do these things, all these other things are going to happen. And then any real world examples, good or bad, right? If you have bad reviews, you got to lean into that. So this is what I call the trust flywheel. So now we have the propaganda content that converts. Now we have the trust flywheel, all this other content at different stages. Again, it's not all at once. It's different touch points strategically that accumulate more and more trust. It gains with time. Third thing is scaling through data. I'll give you a perfect example. I had a client, they spent $50,000 revamping their website and their landing pages, and they wanted to use it. I didn't tell them to do it. We had no issues. They were actually very happy with the results. I was too, and I wanted to spend more money. They wanted us to switch the campaign to this new landing page and promote this new untested thing. I didn't want to do it. And they were up our ass. They said, we want you to change this, change this. I said, okay, fine. Your business, you change it. Guess what happens? It tanked. Our ROAS was cut by over 50%. It was over half. The client was pissed. They're like, what the fuck's going on? I'm like, you're the one that told us to change this landing page. We didn't want to. We wanted to keep doing what we know worked. So we didn't make a data-driven decision. We were profitable. We were making money. They were happy. We didn't scale through. So now immediately, obviously, we're back to scaling. They're happy, but there was no reason to change that. We didn't have any data that changed that. They just wanted to be like somebody else. They were copying some other company, and they wanted to do that, and they invested all this money, astronomical amounts, and they wanted to get their money back on that. I don't blame them for wanting to see it out, but not the way I would have done it. I don't know why they did it in the first place. We got brought into the deal too late. But most advertisers, they focus on the wrong thing. Oftentimes, the things they focus on is lead cost. I see this a lot with advertisers. Lead cost. Oh, well, we got your lead cost down by 50%. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what my lead cost is. How much money am I making from this? That's the only thing that matters. I don't give a fuck about my lead cost. Literally. Like, I don't ever talk about lead cost to me unless we're solving a problem that's greater, right? That's like a secondary KPI that we're looking at. Appointment cost, another thing. You're dealing with not a very sophisticated advertiser if they're talking about lead cost. This is not something to focus on. I want to know, like, how much money are you making off it? What are the real measures of success? For me, the measures of success are going to be like AOV, LTV, revenue per qualified booked call. That's another good one. And then obviously ROAS. These are what matter. What's our average order value? What's our LTV? What's our revenue per qualified book call? What's our ROAS? That's what matters. So the game is tracking the right attribution, tracking revenue through attribution. You see, advertisers, oftentimes I've seen them, what they'll do too is like they're not tracking, they don't have the proper attribution in place. And so they'll see a KPI out of balance and then they'll cut ad. Oftentimes they'll cut the winning ad. I'm like, dude, did you even look at the fucking data? Like all of these sales, all of these ones that are spending our highest ticket package came from this ad. What the fuck were you thinking? Like, why did you turn that ad off? Let's turn back on what was working. But they make emotional decisions. They don't know what KPIs to focus on. So it's not about spending more. It's about spending smarter. So you need to think like a media company. Your content, your message is going to be your competitive moat. That's what's going to surround you and protect you from the competition. You want to invest in good content, the good messaging that is direct. And you need to focus on building these assets, right? These ads can be a combination of value, education, and direct response. And when you can do this successfully, what happens is you get rewarded. You make more money. How does that happen? Well, your CPM goes down. Your CTRs go up. So you need to invest in content. Your ads need to be engaging. Again, that's why you need to think like a media company. So when you create that content that's rewarding, that's the strategic propaganda content, you're gonna get rewarded because you're gonna attract all these people to watch your content, build trust, educate them, build value. Now when the direct response ads come, it's gonna be highly effective. Now, what separates the 8-figure brands, again, they track what matters. To me, it's ROAS or the revenue per qualified booked call. Those are the two things that matter. How much revenue did we generate per booked call we had? Or how much did we make off of our ad spend? And they hire savages, no fucking B players. And then you're gonna repeat this, repeat successful action, also called system. When you find something that works, you don't stop doing it. You know, I've never once stopped brushing my teeth. Yet so many advertisers, they're like, okay, I'm gonna look at the data, and then they stop looking at the data to make decisions. But knowing what works, this is just the first step to breaking past 100K per month in revenue. And there's a complete propaganda marketing system that I've been using with my most successful client. It's made some of the biggest impacts on their scaling success. And I want to show you this exact system. So check out this video where I show you exactly how to hit 8 figures using our propaganda content system. It breaks down the step-by-step frameworks between the 7 and 8 and 9-figure brand. And if you want to apply to work with me, knock out the application below. Or send me a DM if you have questions. I have a coaching offer. I can train you on these exact strategies and systems. I can build it out for you. We can create content for you. There's a lot of ways we can work together. Just send me a DM. Say, hey, Daniel, saw your video, interested in possibly working with you. And if I see there's interest in taking your deal on, we can either hop on a call. I can send you some information. Make sure to knock out that application and hit the subscribe button.